Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the History of Fan Anime. I'm your host, William Chow, and today's episode we're going to talk about classifieds and specialized magazines, and this is very important in the age of early fan dubbing and fan subbing and that kind of stuff that we've done. Is because this is how we had to get our word out. Again, without the internet, we had to depend a lot on print and different things like that. So we're going to get into that topic today. And so before we begin, I want to remind everyone to go down below, click like and click subscribe. Definitely every single time you put a like, it helps the YouTube algorithm figure out and recommend my videos and that kind of stuff. So definitely anything that you do like that would definitely help. If you have a comment or a story that you'd like to tell and add, maybe some questions and that kind of stuff, because I'm also always constantly collecting up responses for the questions and answers and that kind of stuff. Feel free to go down below and make a comment and that kind of stuff. That always, again, really does help. For those people who would like to support me financially, I also have the Super Thanks button as well as the links to PayPal and Patreon down below. I do have a variety of different episodes available to the subscribers, as well as content that's not allowed to be on YouTube here, due to the terms of service, of course. So then I will make that available to all the various Patreon members. And again, there's a good list of the episodes down below of both everything that I have on the history of fan anime, because again, the database is probably way more specific and way more useful than trying to locate the episodes and that because of using the YouTube search engine. I have compiled all the episodes of the history of fan anime as well as the special subscriber episodes all together into a big long spreadsheet, and it's basically sorted in a book style format, so that if you want to look at a particular topic specifically, all the episodes are grouped together with the links and everything. You'll find it much more useful to use that database resource as opposed to trying to use a search engine on YouTube, because it's just YouTube search engine is just not as effective as getting right to the information that you're looking for. Okay, so again, I invite you to do that, and again, I'd like to thank all the subscribers for your support. It really does help. Okay, so today's topic is these resource magazines. So again, it happens in virtually any sort of community, and basically, in the need for, let's say, a local newspaper or something. For example, let's say the Japanese community would like to know and have resources available to them in their native Japanese, right? So, if you're looking for, for example, Japanese convenience stores, Japanese video rental stores, Japanese restaurants. Any sort of Japanese financial services like banks and accounting and that kind of stuff. Maybe you like to deal with a Japanese electrician or a plumber. So these services will make it easier and more available for you to look for. So we have different sort of books, like these kind of books here, which are sort of like directories. If you like a phone book, if you like, outlining different sort of things, that are available to people in the Japanese community. And so I'm going to go over some of these things and some of the importance, how I use these things to get started in Japanese animation. Okay, so without further delay, let's begin. Okay, so the first one I have is a book called The Town Pages. Okay, and basically this is basically a Japanese specific directory designed for businesses and people in Vancouver, Victoria, Whistler, and Banff. So basically, the entire sort of greater Vancouver area, including some of the neighboring big hotspots in British Columbia, that services a lot of Japanese people, whether it's people who live there, people who work there, tourists, anything that kind of nature is designed to have a an opportunity to place ads and different professions and that kind of stuff into a business directory. And so this is really useful because obviously when you're getting started in the Japanese animation and that kind of stuff, a lot of this information is not available online. And you can see that this edition is for 1997-98, okay? So even at this time, Windows 95 and Windows 98 were just coming out, right? So
the entire concept of how the internet is and that kind of stuff is way different than what we understand it nowadays, right? So obviously, in order to get these kind of services and that kind of stuff, it's going to be very difficult. And so that's why having something like this kind of a directory is really useful for different things. You may even notice the little popular culture reference here at the very bottom of the page there of a particular TV series that was shot in Vancouver that was very, very popular back in 1997. So let's open it up and I'll show you some of the examples of some of the things that I would have used having this kind of a book in the early stages. So one of the very first things I would do when I would be looking at this particular book, I'd find the one chapter on video rentals, because obviously, I'm looking for basically, these mom-pop type shops that have, videotape basic libraries of various different TV programming, musical shows, maybe some anime, and basically look it up. So basically, I'd go down to quickly find a whole section just called video rentals, and I could see various different names of all these different places that would do video rentals of some various different sorts. And I can see there's the Harris Rental that was down on Hornby Street. That was downtown, sort of in that Japanese sort of area, because a lot of the Japanese tourists and international students go hang out around Robson Street. So that was really actually a pretty good place. Of course, they had a big ad for Iwase Bookstore, which is basically in Yahoan Center. I remember we used to go there all the time when Friday night Iwase runs, and I'd order not only books, but there's they have magazine subscriptions, they have videotape rentals. Kiku Japanese Video, that was really, really close to me. That was right across the street from the Renfrew Library. And it was really nice because they had basically videotape collections. So obviously some friend or family member in Japan was basically making video recordings of whatever that was on TV, and then they'd mail them over here into Vancouver, and then they rent them out at Kiku Video. It was really, really nice. Konbinia on Robson Street, again right in the heart of the Japanese Trend District. It was a convenience store on the bottom, which sold a lot of Japanese goodies and snacks and that kind of stuff. But upstairs, they had a humongous library of stuff that was recorded off TV, like Japanese movies and that kind of stuff. The actual video cassettes and that kind of stuff for them, and that was really great. There was a Manga-ya on Alberni Street, again downtown Vancouver, just off of Robson Street, and they had they had tons of video cassettes and that kind of stuff. They had PlayStation games. They had a whole bunch of various issues of manga that you could rent and that kind of stuff. That was really good. There was a Sakura Video just down on Alberni, just a little bit down there, when there were 7 blocks. They had some pretty good stuff there. Video Japan. That was on Robinson Street. I think it was just a little bit before when I was able to get down there. Because getting down to Harris and getting down to Video Japan was really a little bit difficult, but definitely they had good stuff there. They had Video Shiki down on East Broadway in Burnaby, so that was it was in a really tucked away mall, and they had some neat stuff in there. I remember. And then, of course, down at the bottom there's got Video Tomokai, which is another one of these sort of bum and pop type shops. But you see, this information was really, really valuable, because now all of a sudden I have addresses, I have names, I have phone numbers. I can actually go to these places and actually, find and just see what kind of libraries they had. And as a person getting started in anime and that stuff, this was absolutely invaluable, because here you are, you're interested in Japanese animation, you don't know where to get it. You go to like a comic book store or that kind of stuff, and they got nothing. This is still at a time where only the major U.S. companies and that stuff were just starting to get their foot into the door. Because they said San Diego and all those companies, like Viz Video and AD Vision and Central Park Media and all those guys, they were just starting to release their first couple titles back in '93, right? So they're just getting started, and catching up with all the anime from the '80s, right? So in order to get all the new stuff, You go to these stores, and these stores have got like the brand newest stuff that these guys haven't even touched. They're like 7 years behind. Like I said, when Animago just started, like in '93, 1993, that episode, they haven't even started getting like to Bubblegum Crisis and stuff yet, right? So like, that stuff is from like 86, 87, right? So all of a sudden, that's like, 8, 9 years, 10 years behind the times, right? So if you get new stuff, this is where to go to get it, right? You go down to one of these stores, and you get stuff which is like literally maybe a couple of months, maybe at most, behind. If you get it right and you get the time right, for example, go to Watch or something, not even a month behind, you can get the brand newest stuff. Stuff that you see in the Animedia new type magazines and that kind of stuff. When you read the book, the magazine, and you see the TV listings, you can actually go and rent those episodes right off the shelf by just looking up the date and saying, okay, yeah, there it is. That's the date. This should correspond to the date that's in the magazine. And that's like unheard of, like being able to do that at this particular time. So that's why these magazines are just invaluable. Okay, so I flipped over to the index section there, and then you can just see the sort of big long list of different categories of businesses and that kind of stuff that are available in this Japanese catalog. And of course, the ones I'm really interested in under G for like games and video, games rentals and that kind of stuff. But you can see it's pretty diverse in the number of things that you can do. Everything from banks and securities, barbers and beauty salons. Coffee shops, computer stores, dental equipment and dentists. There's driving schools, flower shops, and golfing places. Hell, you even some bizarre things like helicopter maintenance and ice carving, of all different things, right? So, definitely a very wide variety of different things that if you're looking for a particular thing that you want to, have Japanese content, this is the way to get it. So this is just one example that I've managed to find. Okay, the next one I've got on this is from a magazine called The Bulletin. This is a newsletter that comes out from the Nikkei Heritage Center, or like a community center. Now, the good thing about something like this, if you flip inside, it has usually a community calendar or sort of events going on, and they usually list off various different performances of Japanese cultural things and whatnot. And the interesting thing on this one is you notice that they actually list a band called EX Girl. And again, they have different sort of music and that kind of stuff, and concert for this particular band. So it's always kind of neat to check these out to see who's coming into Vancouver. And of course, being part of a community center, you can also get all this other stuff that's also available. That's programs that's going on in the community center. Everything from different types of martial arts like karate or kempo, including some things like dance. Karaoke, badminton, yoga, and even like Japanese classes, right? So these are all things that are all helpful for you to do different things, meet different people, and learn more about the community and that kind of stuff. So these are again also very useful things to do for having to do with the community. Okay, and the last example I want to do is I'm going to get away from like Japanese-based magazines, but I'm going to get into this one here, which is a magazine called OnSpec, and it actually is a magazine about writing and science fiction, and this one is they say speculative writing, and it's basically got a lot of little short stories and that kind of stuff and whatnot in it. But the most important thing it actually has that's really kind of cool on it is it actually has a small little section on conventions, and again. The only way you find out about different conventions and that kind of stuff, especially if it's in a different city, is you have to have some sort of book or an advertisement or something which marks the convention in whatever different town it happens to be. And so this way you can know that hey, if you go to that particular town, they have this particular in this case it's a science fiction convention, but it could be any other type of conventions. This magazine does mention VCon, which is the convention in Vancouver here, and I mentioned in some older videos that when we didn't quite have our own Japanese animation, sort of specific convention, what a lot of anime conventions would do is they'll piggyback off of another type of convention. Maybe it's a science fiction convention, maybe it's a comic convention, maybe it's like a Star Trek convention or something like that. That way, the two sort of genres can come together and get enough you know people to come to the convention, to make it successful, and still be able to do a lot of the things that you would normally do, like have video rooms, have people in the dealer's room, put on events and that kind of stuff related to anime, such as cosplay and whatnot, and be able to do things for the market that you're in. But again, this all requires some basically, shall we say, word of mouth or word of. This, of course, all requires word of mouth, or in this case, the word in print, to help you know about these kind of things. So I just wanted to just go over some of these examples of other sort of sources to get that word out, to find out about anime and different things that we had to do before this advent of the internet as we know it.
Okay, so I hope you found that very educational, and hopefully it gives you kind of a better idea of what it was for us in the past to deal with, having no internet basically, and being able to function and basically be able to spread the word of anime. And again, I'll get into more episodes talking about more things from the past of anime. Alright, so until next time, I will see you again.